jelly, but not with me. A truckin' little baby, she's a truckin' little baby. She's a truckin' little baby, I'll tell it everywhere I go. I got a little girl lives on that hill. She says she won't, but I know she will. She's a truckin' little baby. She's a truckin' little baby. She's a truckin' little baby, I'll tell it everywhere I go. We move on now to a style of blues that is a little bit different. Ragtime blues is often called a happy blues. Every kind of event is turned into a happy dance kind of tune. Some are quite fast and some are slow. But inevitably, the thumb work becomes more complex. When we played a blues in A, we had a monotonic bass like so, a double beat, and in E. When we play a ragtime piece, our thumb doesn't stay on one or two notes, but it alternates on the basses, either between two notes. For example, I'm playing a full C chord here, and I'm playing the bass E and the fourth string. This is a simple alternating bass. You can also use the first three bass strings to alternate in this way. Which sounds quite nice. When you start to incorporate the treble strings, it becomes even nicer, but of course much harder to control. It's important that this movement becomes firmly embedded in your mind. It needs to be second nature. Normally when I play ragtime and sing ragtime songs, I have the capo either on the first fret or the second fret. This is just to suit my voice, but it also has the effect of making the fingering a little bit easier. Let's take a look at the structure of a ragtime song in C. We're going to use Truckin' Little Baby by Blind Boy Fuller as our example. First of all, we have C. Sometimes the C will be a half C, or not really a half C, but not a full C at any rate. Sometimes it will be full with both the bass notes held down. And often we'll use our little finger on the sixth string. We'll have an F chord, sometimes a full F chord, and sometimes not. Sometimes I'll leave the second string open so that I could use my little finger on the higher strings. In that case, I'll just alternate between two bass strings. We'll have G, sometimes moving down to G7 and back again, and back to C. A ragtime song in C has a turnaround, which makes it nice and pleasant sounding. It's quite intricate. In this key, we start with C, C7, F, and A flat 7, back to C, and finish with G. The next thing to note is that when we're alternating the basses, we really don't need to let them ring like this. We need to keep our palm quite close so that we can damp them when we want to. Also, we damp by letting our fingers off the left hand raise a little bit. It's a combination of both techniques. With the proper use of this technique, we can make the ragtime song bounce like this. Now let's take a look at the instruction for Truckin' Little Baby by Blind Boy Fuller. Good luck. We start off the song with an introduction, a nice little simple run. We pinch the two strings, the last two strings, the fifth and the sixth together, and we run up, as you can see in the tablature. At the end of the run in this clip, we move back to C7, which is very common as a ragtime structure. First we move back to C, and C7. And now we introduce a bend on the F. And we also use a little finger on the F. Then the bend. You notice here that sometimes I put in some little notes. For example, before I normally play this, and before this I'd play this. These little notes in between the main notes are just there to add an effect. It tends to be automatic with me. If you do put them in now and again, it gives a really nice bouncy effect. If you can't, try it slowly at first and introduce them later. This is a great little run that is very simple to do, but it sounds very nice when it's played up to speed. We pinch the last two strings and run down like so. Finishing off in C before we move to the turnaround. And now we come to the turnaround, which is C, C7, F, A flat 7, back to C, and finish off with G. Play it with a bit of bounce, try and be very accurate and make a really pleasant sound. Play these runs very, very slowly at first. Don't try and take shortcuts. Play it very slowly and gradually increase every day. Although this instrumental break doesn't appear in Blind Boy Fuller's song, I've included it for a bit of variety and interest. It's always good to include variety to make it enjoyable for your listeners. So instead of playing C when we start, we're going to play the long A shape on the 5th fret, which is C, and then move back to C. Which is very simple but effective.